introducing our wonderful panel, our subject matter experts that are here to talk about their small local business programs, how to get certified, and also some ways that they are seeing that small businesses can grow during this COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 world. Our first speaker is Atheria Smith, who is the acting vice chancellor of Peralta Community College in the General Services Department. Atheria is not new to the district. She's been in the district for about 15 years. She's a small business advocate. When we first rolled out our first outreach for the bond program, she was a part of that and talking about the district's commitment to small local business and the local business program. So we are happy to have her in this seat as the acting vice chancellor, to have her voice as an advocate to some small local businesses. So Atheria, thank you.
Thank you for the introduction and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy and hectic evenings to join us tonight. Let's go to the next slide. You know, there's one thing that Shonda, in her introduction, she said that I am a business advocate an advocate for small local businesses. I am. I started off at Peralta as a consultant. So I know what it is to be a small local business for the district. I know what you go through. I am a listening ear and I am very supportive of all the small local businesses that come into the district. So again, I am on your side and I know what you go through to get into the district, to get on these projects and to take part. You are part of our community and we want you there in and on our projects. So the first step that you should know is vendor registry. Vendor registry, I want to thank also the PMs and the project manager, AECOM, and also the purchasing department that's led by Brian Slaughter for vendor registry. So vendor registry is the first step that all businesses, small or large, must take part in to do business with the district. So you come to the district, you go to the website, peralta.edu, purchasing, go to vendor registry, register your business, register your W-9 forms and upload them and send them in. Then we look for you to forward the original signed documents to the 501 Fifth Avenue, Oakland, California. That is the purchasing department. So you can also put attention purchasing. So after you have the opportunity to register under vendor registry, then you will begin to receive opportunities to bid. You will receive RFPs, RFQ solicitations to participate and bid on our projects. However, be sure to always come to we're human. So be sure to come to our website, check the purchasing website to see what we have listed as what's out for bid at the time. So remember, there are three things. Go to vendor registry, complete the vendor application, download the W-9 form, and then you will begin, the third and final thing, you will begin to receive notifications within our system. Next slide, please. A little bit about the small local businesses program here at Peralta. Our goal is 25% of small local business participations. Some people exceeded, but that is our goal, to meet 25%. Now, again, Shonda mentioned that we have matchmaking events. So there are large projects that we expect the larger businesses to incorporate and take on and embrace our small local businesses to participate. And we look for those businesses, those bids that include our small local businesses. And we do look at the percentages. It's important to us. We look those that are qualified, first of all, to meet the small local business. We service 6 cities. It's Alameda, Albany, Berkeley, Emeryville, Oakland, and Piedmont. Those are our 6 service city areas. So SLBE, the revenue size not exceeding gross annual revenue. For construction firms, it's $8 million. For goods and services, $6 million. For A&E, $3 million. For SLBEs, again, it's $1.5 million for 3 consecutive years. So please review those things, make sure you qualify. We're here to work with you. And I hope, even if you're not in our local business areas, please still apply. Next slide, please. Peralta is not a certifying agent of small local businesses. So that's why it's important for us to always, we take the approvals of our local agencies, the City of Oakland, Alameda County, Port of Oakland, and BART. We honor what people have already been pre-approved with those local certification. So it's a self-certification when you apply and when you fill out a bid form or a contract with Peralta. So please look for that self-certification. So that pretty much is part of my information for small local businesses. And again, I'm an advocate for small local businesses, and I look forward to working with all of you.
We'll move to Ernestine Nettles, who is with the City of Oakland Contract Compliance. Or many of us in the contract compliance world heavily refer to Ernestine for her expertise and her experience that she's had for over the years at the City of Oakland. The City of Oakland's certification is one that Peralta Community College also honors. If you are based in Oakland, you can get certified in Oakland, and it's an invaluable certification to have. You can work and be on the list for a number of projects in the area based on being certified with the City of Oakland and in their database. So Ernestine is an Oakland native too.
Not only am I an Oakland native, but I was also one of the first students to register at Alameda College back in 1970 when I was home from college that summer. And I sat on the committee that hired the first president of the college. I was one of the advocates for the child care center in the college and one of the original senators in the student government. So to see the college being where it is now is very commendable, because those were many of the things that we were advocates for back in the early 70s. So I'm the person with the City of Oakland that you love to hate and hate to love, because in order to get certified with the city and any of the agencies, you have to provide all this documentation. And when you're putting the documentation together, it can be very time consuming. And for a lot of people, it can be very frustrating. However, I want you to understand that when you put the documents together for us and you maintain those documents and keep them updated, they help you as you go to pursue other things in your business and other opportunities in your business. With the City of Oakland, we have the local business enterprise, which is the LBE, a small local business enterprise, a very small local business enterprise, and our newest category is a locally produced good business enterprise. And that is for companies that actually produce a product here in the City of Oakland. The requirements for our program sometimes seems very cumbersome. However, once you get through the process, you're very grateful for it. For instance, we now have what's called the iSupplier system. And I would urge everyone, whether you're a Oakland-based business or you're just a business in general, go to the City of Oakland's website and register an iSupplier. You do not have to be certified to register an iSupplier. And the reason you want to be registered in iSupplier is because when you register an iSupplier and you supply your NAICS code, whenever opportunities become available and they're looking for companies with that NAICS code, you will be notified. And we no longer have the Schedule C, which was the affidavit of certification. When you apply for certification with the City of Oakland, you apply through iSupplier. You'll send an email to myself or Linda Jones, preferably Linda Jones, or you can do it directly online, and they're going to notify us, and we're going to send you what is called a certification application assessment. And when we send that assessment, you're going to get the user guide, which gives you a step-by-step instructions on how to complete the assessment. We need you to have a current City of Oakland business tax license. And if your business requires a professional license, for instance, if you're a construction company or an engineering company, we need to see that that license is current. We will be looking at your lease agreement or your rental agreement for your business location. If you happen to be a home-based business, then we will be looking at your taxes, or if you rent, we'll be looking at that rental agreement. We'll want you to supply a W-9 form. A W-9 form is a form that you get from the IRS showing us that you are in business. We will want to see your last 3 years of taxes. Earlier, Ms. Smith was talking about the gross average receipts. We take a look at your last 3 years of taxes, and it tells us what your gross average receipts are, and we mathematically complete that to know your gross averages. If you're incorporated, we need a copy of your letter of incorporation from the Secretary of State, wherever you incorporated. If you incorporated here in California, of course, we want it to be from the California Secretary of State. And then to see what you've been doing over a period of time, we like to have 3 contracts or invoices for work that was done from your Oakland office. And it does not have to be with the City of Oakland, but any work that you've done from your Oakland office. And when we're asking you over and over again to provide us documentation regarding Oakland, is because there are a lot of companies that try to come to Oakland, set up a temporary shop, take advantage of our business opportunities, and then they're gone. So this is a safeguard, not only for the city, but it's also a way to protect our small businesses and ensure they have the opportunity. If you work for a construction company, like I said, we want to see a copy of your contractor's license. When we ask for a copy of your taxes, we only need to see the first page of the taxes. If you're a sole proprietor, we ask to see your Form 1040 and your Schedule C. So if you're a sole proprietor, even if you make no money, but you're in business, you need to fill out a Schedule C every year. For a partnership, we're looking at your Form 1045. For corporations, we're looking at your Form 1120. For a limited liability partnership, we're looking at your Form 1065. For a limited liability corporation, limited liability corporations also complete a Form 1120. And if you're a nonprofit, we're looking at your Form 990. The requirements for our program is very simple. Your business should be located and functioning in the city of Oakland. When you register an iSupplier, iSuppliers, they're going to want a copy of your W-9 to verify that you are indeed a company registered with the IRS and all the appropriate entities. For the city's iSupplier portal, you can go to oaklandca.gov/services/register with iSupplier. So whether you're a City of Oakland business or not, you do want to register with iSupplier. Once you're certified with the company, once you're certified with the City of Oakland, it entitles you to bid discounts, and bid discounts are based upon, which gives you a point preference, are based upon your certification. It's based upon whether you're an LBE, an SLBE, a DSLBE, and if you are, there are point preferences available once you have been certified with the City of Oakland. If you have any additional questions about certification with the City of Oakland, feel free during these times to just send me an email. My email is enettles, ENETTLES @oaklandca.gov. That's enettles, ENETTLES @oaklandca.gov. And if you have any questions regarding business certification in the Greater Bay Area, feel free to contact me and I will answer your question as best I can, or I certainly will put you in direction of the right resource to help you. The goal is for our city to become a model city throughout the state and throughout the nation of supporting small business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nettles. Ramona Dixon, I think, is available to come on camera, and Mike to go over her presentation for the Port of Oakland. There you go.
Okay.
Hey,
Can you see me now?
yes, we can see you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for this opportunity. The Peralta Build Academy is so exciting, and the opportunities for the students and those of you wanting to start your small businesses is just, limitless. These are the types of programs the Port of Oakland, the City of Oakland, and other county agencies have tried to give you opportunities towards just through mixers and so forth. And to have a course that can actually certify you and give you these opportunities is so exciting to me. That's where we don't have the time as much or the opportunity as much. And here you have it through Alameda County or the Peralta College District and this program, the PCCD program. This is so exciting. I'm so glad to be part of it. Thank you to everyone and the coordinator, Shonda, and so on, to give the Port of Oakland that this opportunity right now. Also understand that the Port of Oakland is a department within the city. So a lot of what you heard from my esteemed colleague who was part of my mentoring when I began doing this over 6 years ago, is really, this is what the core of trying to have access to our opportunities here locally. And the Port of Oakland definitely has a small business program mission to engage local businesses. And I'll begin by telling you, certification with the port basically entitles you to a document that allows you preference points towards bids that you submit on our projects. And some of them can be large, some of them can be small. A lot of them are construction related, but there are also opportunities for professional contracts along with those, as far as business management, contract management, that type of thing. So for those of you that are not in the construction field, which is most of our projects, don't feel that you are missing an opportunity. There are opportunities there for you. So I'll just begin by telling everyone healthy holidays for the simple fact that we are under COVID, and I'll speak to impacts of COVID towards the end of this brief summary. The Port of Oakland offers four types of certifications, as you see on the screen there. We have the local impact area, and understand that our program is more so resonates with local businesses, and that would be Alameda and Contra Costa counties only. If you're outside of that area, or you live outside of that area, your business is outside of their area, don't be discouraged. We still accept bids. You just won't be eligible for the preference points that are offered under our small business program that deals mostly with local impact areas. And the very local impact areas are Oakland, Alameda, Emeryville, and San Leandro. So we have local impact area, we have small business enterprise, we have very small business enterprise, and we have local business area. Next slide, please. And so when we talk about the criteria for those areas, as you see, there's the local Alameda County and Contra Costa areas only, and you have to be in business for at least 1 year. So we are located, you have to be located in a fixed commercial or residential area. And as we are now seeing over this past year, and probably pre-COVID, a lot of companies have gone to virtual offices, shared offices, and so forth. And I will speak to that at the very end of this. I just want to keep it moving. So whether you're in your home doing your business or whether you're in a commercial fixed location, those are all acceptable criteria. Temporary movable office, post office box, or telephone answering services are not acceptable simply because they don't show or secure that you are at a location that is credible for our compliance with our program. You submit your application, all supporting documents. As Ms. Nettles mentioned, there are a lot of different documents that we need for compliance. And anytime there is a bid out that you are going for, which happens a lot to people, they find out about something. With our compliance, you have to be certified before 7 days, business days prior to the ending of that bid due date, or else you are not eligible to receive preference points for that particular bid. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the required documents, and as Ernestine mentioned before, these are pretty much the same for a lot of the certifications. So your professional license, and I'll speak to that first simply because a lot of construction companies and professional trades and licenses that you have those, but there are certain professional consultants that don't have these type of professional licenses. And let me see, for example, if you're in business management, something like that, you would not necessarily receive a professional license, although you may have gone to college or may have the experience. And in those cases, we don't require that. So don't feel that you're not eligible because you don't have a professional license. But if you're in an area like environmental or construction or something like that, you obviously, engineering, have to have a professional license in order to be qualified and certified under us to say that that is the type of service that you can offer. Business licenses, everyone should have a business license. In our case, for the port certification, if you are in Alameda in Contra Costa County, I'll reiterate, then your business license doesn't have to be in Oakland. It has to be where your business is located. And that location has to be within Alameda or Contra Costa County. So we are accepting not just City of Oakland business licenses, but we're accepting wherever you are, Concord, San Leandro, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The lease agreements. This is a very important area also because this helps substantiate that you are actually where your business is. So for example, if you are leasing from a building or renting in your home or have a deed for the property of your home, or even perhaps a property tax license, it will show that this is where you are and it'll have the annual dates and so forth. And all of this is credible towards documenting that you are logistically where you are supposed to be with your business. So these things are very important and could definitely be a problem if you do not, if you're not able to give these items to us. Very important. So keep that in mind. The tax returns, similar to the city of Oakland, 3 years of your past, so it will be your current and your past 2 years of your federal tax returns. And as she has listed more detailed in her PowerPoint slides, it's the same thing. If it's your home, it's a deed, or your tax records. If it's a business, commercial location, it's your lease agreement. But just note that sometimes we find people giving us the lease agreement and perhaps it didn't start until a certain year and it doesn't go back one whole year and that kind of thing. You have to be in your business for at least 1 year to qualify for the port's certification. So keep that in mind when you're gathering your documents. These are like the criteria. This is the bottom line, the basics. And without those, it's going to be hard for us to work with you. And we would love to work with you and we want to. So don't get discouraged. If there's issues or problems, give us a call, because especially during COVID, there are other impacts, which I'll get to towards the end of this presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, so the benefits of becoming certified are definitely a number one to all small businesses, the preference points. Our preference points, you can earn up to 15% on a bid for your preference points. But I will tell you that the most that you would qualify for, the 15%, is usually LIA. So you have to be in one of the local impact areas, which gives you a little more preference points. And those impact areas, as stated before, are Oakland, Alameda, San Leandro, and Emeryville. So remember that when you're looking for a percentage or wondering possibly why you only got 10% out of 15%, that kind of thing. It varies to an extent, but for the most part, you're all eligible as long as you're within Alameda County or Contra Costa County. The certification that we give you, which is a document that allows you to be eligible for those preference points, is valid for 2 years. You would get a notification automatically to tell you, like maybe 6 months prior to the ending of that time period, that it's coming up, and we can begin at least 2 months prior to when it expires. So no worries. We also remind you, because we know you're all busy and we're all busy. So that's one of the benefits as well. We also make sure that within our database, you are always chimed in on any bid opportunities. And if you're not certified or aren't able to be certified just yet, note that you can always go on our website at www.portofoakland.com, and you can chime into our bid process, or it's not our bid process, but a list of projects that are forthcoming and currently ongoing. So you always have that access, and we definitely encourage you to do so. It may take you some time to make it to a year of business within our area. So don't let that discourage you. You can always bid. You just won't be eligible for the preference points until you're a business in the area within Alameda County, Contra Costa, for 1 year. But still, always go to our website, see what we've got going on, and see if there's anything that your company is eligible for. It also includes that you can access our database there. You just put in the one area that you are working in, whether it's engineering, construction, you have it, professional management, blah, 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 and it'll pull up that information for you. And you can see who all is in our database and perhaps contact them email-wise or what have you, and speak to them about maybe something they'd be bidding on or something you're interested on. So keep that in mind also as you, can you go back to the last slide? Sorry. As you, look for opportunities in the future. Let's see. Project learning, no cost free. And so the other thing with that too is everyone's looking, there's no cost to your information being out there as far as you being in the database with the Port of Oakland. And it is always used, and people always contact us, even if they're not, they could be from out of the area and they may contact you. So note that as well. It's a additional benefit. So one of the other things I wanted to go back or end with is the impacts of COVID, right? We're in the COVID period. Most of this year, it's all a blur now, but basically, let's just say this year, a lot of businesses have been failing. A lot of businesses have left their current locations, maybe even returned to home, or the virtual offices, which has become not just COVID time, but pre-COVID time. We were experiencing a lot of companies who were downsizing, or startups who were going to these virtual offices, which I've found just great. I mean, when I go in there, it's like, oh my goodness, they share the conference rooms, they have this space and these cubicles. But more so than that, I want to explain how the port is dealing with that under the restriction of COVID, and also knowing that a lot of businesses have had to downsize or have moved and possibly moved to home. Those same requirements and criteria are still what we need from you. We need to know, for example, if you've downsized and you've moved to home, let us know. We need to change your status if you're existing business in our database. If you're new in our database, you still need that year criteria, but a lot of businesses, and you can share this information with others, if you're already existing, then you just need to combine your past lease where you moved from with your home deed or property tax information to show that you've relocated. We are working with businesses through all of these changes, and we're readjusting as necessary. And just know that we're all willing to work with you. We understand the circumstances change and have changed. We also noted prior to COVID that a lot of companies were doing it this way. So most of that criteria remains, but we will work with you and we can talk and discuss about what your circumstances are. So don't let that deter you from looking us up and trying to become certified with the Port of Oakland. If I can't help you personally, I will get the information for you. We will work with you. We don't turn anyone away. We try to give you the best information on how to qualify, how to comply, that type of thing. So I won't go any further. I'll wait for the panel discussion, but I wanted to definitely give you that information about the COVID impacts and how it impacts possibly your certification. So thank you so much for your time. I'm wishing all of you and your families a healthy, happy holiday.
Thank you. Thank you. So you stay on, everybody will come on camera and we'll have our panel discussion now.
Okay.
Are we all up? Okay, good. I was like,
okay, I'm here.
All right, everybody's mics on. So, well, first I want to say to Peralta and to Atheria that honoring the City of Oakland and the Port of Oakland in particular, I'm certified with both of them, is perfect because they are so thorough with their due process that they do site visits. I mean, they don't, if they know you, they're coming to do a site visit to make sure, to check, to take pictures. I mean, you couldn't have a more trusted resource as far as a being a non-certifying entity and using their resources. Also, Alameda County and BART as well. But since you two are here, I want to just commend you on that and say they are a definitely trusted resource that you can rely on as far as having a process. But in the certification process, it's so much, it's like, why people ask, why should I get certified with these different entities? Can I just have one certification? Just prior to entering certification, what would you advise firms to do? And this would be to Ernestine and Ramona. What would be your recommendation on how firms could prepare for the process? Because it is quite a bit of information that they have to be able to provide. And if they're getting certified with both of yours agencies, is there a way for them to get certified at the same time? And then what can they do to prepare for the certification process?
You want to
Yep.
take it, Ramona?
No,
Pardon me?
Ernestine, you go first, please.
Okay. Well, when you want to get certified with the city of Oakland and you notify us, I send you out the certification instructions. Until recently, with the upgrading of our IT systems, it was very easy for us to share information. That's no longer the case, and maybe post COVID, we'll be able to do that once again. But once you put together the basic documents, particularly for the port or for Oakland, then resubmitting them is easy. You upload the documents, they're there, they're in the file permanently. For instance, let's say a lease agreement. You've entered into a new lease agreement. That agreement is good for the next 6 years. Certification with our agencies is for 2 years, but you don't have to submit the lease agreement each time you recertify in 2 years, because the lease agreement is there once it's uploaded into the system. So what I try to advise all small businesses to do is to take the list of documentation that we require, get that documentation together, and then submit for your certification so that everything is there.
Okay.
Do you have
And
anything?
so, say again.
So did you have anything to add to?
Basically what Ernestine is telling everyone is exactly what we follow as well. Get your paperwork together, understand what it is that's required, and we'll work with you. But one of the other things I would also say is that if you are, I'm repeating this from my presentation time, if you are looking to bid upon something and there is a bid due date, please keep in mind that with the port, you must be certified 7 business days prior to that bid due date in order to be eligible for those preference points towards that bid. So what happens is we get a lot of people that see something and, oh yeah, right. You may not have heard about it before. You may have missed the notification we send out, or may not even be on that database list. But once you find out, look at your bid due dates. And if you're coming to certify with the port, remember that, because that's important. We try to work with you quickly, but it doesn't happen that way depending on the documentation you have. So make sure, like she says, make sure that you have your documentation ready, because if you have that ready, we can get you through.
Right, and that being certified before bid is applicable to all your agencies, and that's so important because people always ask that question. Like that's one of the most top tier questions that are asked. Like, can it be certified after? Can you get certified before? Can you put a bid in and then get certified after you get the contract?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
Etheria, in your experience, how do you think small businesses could prepare to work on a Peralta community college project if they haven't worked there before, especially a small local firm?
Well, a small local firm, of course, we are going to try to, I guess, a good way to maybe concierge you through, help you through the process. The best way is just to register on vendor registry. We are open. We'll do the checks, the background checks to make sure you're certified. We look to the Port of Oakland and the City of Oakland. We look for their certifications, but we're here to work with people. We have first-time vendors that we work with, and they work with our project managers, our construction managers, and we help them through the process. So if we onboard you, if you come onto one of our projects, you're not coming on blindly. We will help you through the process.
And hence Build Peralta Academy is part of helping be successful in that process.
And that's what this is about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Since Ramona, you hit on this, due to the COVID pandemic shelter in place, how has the certification process, meaning like if firms want to get certified And what's your process? How has that changed now that we're in shelter in place and you may be working remotely? And, I don't know how the site visits are handled, or how has that changed for both you and Ernestine? But you had been talking about the post-COVID environment.
Sure. Right. Exactly.
Uh-oh, she's breaking up.
I think, Ramona, you might be breaking.
And it's so important. Oh, wow. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I've been having technical
Uh-oh.
Can you hear?
I
I'll
think
move response with you can't understand. It's okay. So basically the impacts from COVID, obviously the virtual did not conduct. We do virtual, or if you have a business that has a website and it shows your business location, which matches the information you've provided, then we accept that. And that can change. Everything is altering. Before we were looking at opening back up to site visits, and now the spike has caused us to shut back down. So always just check with us, because that information and that process is, it could change. It could change in 3 months. It can get worse in a month. We just never know. But right now, no direct site visits by our offices, but we can do virtual. And we also, if you have a website that shows your location on there, we'll accept that as well for the site visit. So we're pretty flexible right now during COVID.
Ernestine, how is it for the city now that everybody's remote?
The same holds true for the city of Oakland. If you were in an office and now you're home, and that is indeed your primary base for doing business, just let us know. And we worry about it more when you're up for recertification or when you're being certified for the first time. But if you have to go from an office from 555 to your home address, that's still acceptable, except we do not certify LBEs that are home-based businesses. We want to see their headquarters, and we will not certify an LBE in a home-based business.
Okay. Well, that helps.
Also,
Also,
I think we're all on the cutting edge with how to handle the virtual offices that are popping up now, with WeWorks and Impact Hub, et cetera. And we're working closely with the managers of those organizations to see exactly how we can certify those businesses and indeed know that they are there to do business in our city, in our county. So.
And let me add one more thing. I'm sorry to, but it's also important for students to know that if you are outside of Alameda or Contra Costa County for the port certification, you still, whether you move to a virtual office here or not, you need 1 year of business in this location that's credible, regardless if you're a new submittal. The only thing that we are taking some issue to, or how do you say it, consideration towards, is if you've been in business in these two counties and had to change due to COVID or some impact, whether prior to COVID, don't get me wrong, there were impacts already. So this is really devastating, I know, for small businesses this year, when we'd already seen virtual offices and different downsizing over the past maybe 2-3 years, just due to the economics. So we understand that and we work with you, but if you are coming from outside of Alameda County or Contra Costa County, coming into a virtual office due to the convenience or what have you, COVID, you still need to qualify 1 year of business in this area prior to being qualified with the port's certification program.
okay, and then speaking of the impact of the pandemic, just in your experience, how would you guide or advise small businesses on how they can build their capacity during time, with the pandemic happening? I mean, are there ways that you envision that they could, team up, or ways that they can build their
Absolutely.
capacity, and what kind of strategies that you, just in your experience?
Yes. Ernestine, do you want me to start?
You can start. Mhm.
So to the students and the future small business entrepreneurs on this call, I just want to say that one of the things I've run into over the years, and not just COVID, small businesses weren't eligible to handle certain parts and phases of large projects that the port offered. And what we would try to encourage through our mix matchers and mixers and so forth was for them to do a joint venture, strengthen together. And once you get to a certain, plateau or whatever level where you separate back out, because those joint ventures are temporary, and that's why you get contracted with those. And Meriwether and Williams is one of the groups that came to a couple of my mixers to discuss that potential. And a lot of people are scared of that. A lot of small businesses fear that. You started and struggled to have your own business. And of course, merging, you lose some identity. And I get that. But during COVID, I want to reiterate how important survival of small businesses are right now. And I think that if you have similar businesses and you go into a certain contract, you should join together, build your forces, get stronger and be able to be more eligible for these contracts as they come. And then later on, you both have, built the experience, the background, the references, and you can separate back out. But I think for survival purposes, I would recommend and suggest to anyone that has a small business that is in danger right now to look for similar businesses and work as a partnership, because together we make things happen. And then we can definitely do our own thing as we had before, but just try to survive right now. And part of that survival, I would say, is joint ventures.
Okay. Ernestine, Ernestine and Atheria, did you have anything to add as guidelines or support, or how small businesses can build their capacity in the midst of a global pandemic?
I think that was well said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So, anything else you wanted to add is just like insight, just based on your experience for firms on what they should be doing once they get certified, and if they should get certified for multiple agencies, what's the benefits in having multiple certifications?
Well, I think, Shonda, what you said originally about attending mixers, attending classes like this, and getting to know who all the players are throughout the city, that is key. The more you know, the more you can grow. And the one thing that I like about this program is that it's teaching you all aspects of what you need to be able to do in order to make your business successful and to grow. Because even though we have these programs, my satisfaction is when you have made so much money, you graduate out of these programs. And for all of us, you graduate once those gross receipts exceed
Yes.
those thresholds.
Yes.
And so I think for all of us who are advocates for small business, yes, we're advocates for small business, but we want you to have the expertise and the know-how to become the big business.
Right. And
so you had something to add before we go to our...
Yes, please. Let me say one thing about this program to the students and participants online today, whether you're in the program or just, I don't know if that's a requirement or what have you, but one of the things that I hear from most small businesses over the years, those that are existing, those that are starting up, those that look to the future, or maybe even out of our area, one of the things that stomps them the most at the Port of Oakland is our RFP or RFQ process. It is stifling to someone in a small business. It's like a thick pad of, depending on what type of project it is, rather, it can be, discomforting and deter people from even trying. So this program that I heard earlier, a lot of the details, also offered that type of information and opportunity to learn how to submit for RFPs and RFQs. And I'm telling all of you, we try to help you. We don't have the time or something set aside to assist with that. We answer the questions as we can. There are engineers and different people to try to answer your questions or put out what do you call it? One of those, I forget what they call them, but it's when everyone asks certain questions about those bids, they put that out. But to have the hands-on
Answer questions.
assistance, the hands-on assistance, you cannot beat that. This course is well worth it. And that is one of the biggest stifling problems for most small businesses when they come to the Port of Oakland to submit for a bid. So please take advantage of that opportunity. Go back and review that information. Speak to the teachers or whomever is over that portion. That is one of the things that I've heard throughout my 6-7 years working with certification. So, take advantage of this. This is an exceptional course.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that the program is going to have a mock bid, and everyone who participates has the opportunity to actually complete a bid with the guidance of the instructors and the professionals that are available. I think that
would be great.
that would be more than whatever it costs to get in the class, just to get that experience on how to approach responding to a bid.
Yes.
Well, our instructor for next week is a subject matter expert in estimating, and he has Q&A, he has pop quizzes, he has a whole session that he may have to take the whole 2 hours. So you guys get ready. So that's next week for on the 16th is estimating, and he has a thorough presentation for that, and he's taking it seriously too. So people who are advanced and people who are just wanting to learn more can learn from this course that he has, and there will be pop questions and quizzes throughout the session. I'm gonna take, there's a couple of questions in the chat. One is, I guess it's like a question or a recommendation. If this is for the Peralta, the small local business plan, which is small comma local business, not small and. So their question is, would there be some considerations for small businesses in the program that aren't local? And I'll just say that I understand the understanding of the small local because the voter approved bond dollars are funding the program. So that's a way to reinvest the money back into the community that's being paid for by the community. But I don't know, Etheria, did you have any thoughts on that? Or do you want Bonnie and I to just put the pin in that and look and do a further analysis on what that would look like or could look like?
Well, there's a couple of ways I would like to try to respond to this.
Okay.
We're going to honor, the certifications from the Port of Oakland, BART, and the city. But in terms of Peralta, it's the 6 cities that we identified. That's what I found in our investigation. And until that changes, please we're going to honor the certifications from those organizations. Dr. James and Shonda, if you can continue to look into this, and Dr. James, if you have any further comments to that, please share.
Oh, there he is, Dr. James. I see you, Bonnie. You got to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, I was listening to the presentation and it was fantastic. So the small businesses adhered to the plans of the 2 organizations, and you'll be in the mix. With regard to how the district goes about qualifying small businesses and permitting them to be a part of the plan, I think that is totally up to the district. in terms of how it wishes to do that. I've seen a number of combinations on various programs, and it's of course is up to the district in terms of how it wishes to do this. For example, on state participation in plans and projects. In other words, when there's a state monies that are in a project, sometimes the district will allow small businesses outside of the area to bid on those particular projects, because the concept is for the board is that state monies are involved, and so therefore the small businesses funds are involved in that particular project. But that's strictly up to the district in terms of how it wishes to operate the programs.
Great. We have another question. It's if you downsize your physical office after a year to a virtual office, if you are in the assessment period, will the year physical office still count? So do you understand? So if they were in a physical office for a year and then they had to downsize to another space, do they get the credit for being this physical office that they were the year? Now they downsize, or do they start over and have to be in this other space for a year?
No, as long as, with the city of Oakland, as long as you remain in the city of Oakland, you don't have to worry about starting over again. But if you were in Oakland and then you went to San Leandro and you want to come back to Oakland, well, you'd have to wait another year. But if you stay within the Oakland geographical area, you're fine.
And
What about in the, is that a remote?
I'm sorry. Yes, please, let me chime in. For the Port of Oakland, although we are a department of the city of Oakland, our compliance is a little different. So if you go back to our slides or you get a copy of these, this information, the LIA, which is limited impact area, is what we're more concerned with. And those areas do include Oakland, Alameda, San Leandro, and Emeryville. So depending on what you're qualifying for, as long as you're in Alameda County and Contra Costa County and you downsize to another area within those two counties, we do not discount that in the sense that you have to start all over. But if you are outside of those areas, say you're in Sacramento and you come to Oakland with a virtual office, you have to wait that year. So I kind of expressed that earlier, but I just want to reiterate that we are willing to work with those who are impacted pre-COVID or COVID now, as long as you're within those counties and depending on the eligibility you already had or are seeking. You just have to follow the same requirements, and we will work with you to combine your past lease, whether you move to your home or a virtual office, whether you've moved from a commercial building to a virtual office, whatever that is. We don't look down on what you've done in the past. We are just looking for the eligibility of that 1 year and where that was, and this is within the local impact areas or within those two counties. So don't let that deter you, and always call us or email us to find out those, specific questions, and we can work with you on getting the documentation needed to keep you moving forward.
And then so we're in COVID. Someone
Right.
lives in Vallejo, but their office was in Oakland. Now they downsized because, their business changed because of the COVID impact, and they're virtual at home. So if they want to come back to Oakland because they now can afford office space in that case,
Right.
what is there any kind of grace that's being considered in those cases? Because I'm sure this could be a lot of people, because a lot of people may have an office in Oakland but didn't necessarily live in Oakland, so now they're remote. Is there any scenarios or any thoughts on how you're going to deal with that once we open back up again?
For us, we're going to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
Right, and for the port as well, but just keep in mind, Vallejo, is Alameda Contra Costa County, or is that Sonoma?
No.
Sonoma.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That's what home is, right, but they may have had an office in Oakland before, like.
Right. Oh, so right. You're saying the reverse of a lot of what's going on.
I'm saying Right, they're now working from home, but their home is not in Oakland, but their office was.
Exactly.
Now they don't have the
They're
office.
in a different county.
Right.
So that does, well, I'm with Ernestine on that. We'll work with that on a case by case basis. But if you move outside of our local impact areas, which basically are Alameda County and Contra Costa County, we would definitely have to work with you on how that looks moving forward. And that's still somewhat up in the air. So, you know, let us know. We'll work with you. These are issues that we are definitely dealing with now, but there's no determined, you know, information on that. And depending on what project it is and what, you know, they mandate us on and so forth, or the DIR or whomever regulatory agencies involved, we have to stick to certain more strict codes on that as much as we may want to work with you. But as I said, don't be discouraged. There's always a way to work things out, even if it takes a little bit longer. And you can always, no matter where you live, even out of state, you can submit a bid, make your bid well enough to where you don't have to worry about those preference points that our certification allows you. And you'll get the bid, whether you are certified, whether you are out of the area, whether you're out of state. And keep that in mind.
It's important that people understand that you don't have to be certified in
Right.
order to bid on any of these projects.
That's right.